Okay, Sarge had been asked to provide a recipe for the chili and how do we run this thing. So we thought we'd make a video. And just to show you what's here, well, we've already got our pans set up. There's for the oyster stew. And, you know, miscellaneous pans here. The cookers. We've got onions, bell peppers, and celery there. Over here on the table, there's 17 gallons. It's gallons of oysters. Got the milk down here ready to do the oysters. Cleaning up the stove that's provided by the Dakota. They kept this when they replaced all their other equipment and gave it to the Realtors to use. Had to install a heavy-duty electrical hookup for this huge stove. Back here on the back table,
we'll get a fresh batch. Well, as soon as we get everything done here, then we'll
all the stuff that goes in. There's accent and salt and Tabasco and Worcestershire and more Tabasco, chili pepper, butter, horseradish. That's for putting in the sauce for the oysters. Secret recipe stuff over here. There's tomato sauce, V8 juice, chili beans, and tomato juice. And then there's some diced tomatoes. Other than that, let's see, we've got lots of napkins and towels for cleanup. Huge amount of meat back here, plus all the bacon that'll be chopped up, put into the oyster stew. And then we've got our cookers that are owned by the association. So lots of stuff going in. I forgot to mention there are more beans and diced tomatoes. They make good extenders on the tables because all those vegetables have to get chopped and prepared. And as we'll show sometime later, that some recreation goes on at the tables too, but by then the tables will be back down on the floor. But this helps the backs of the people who have to cut all this stuff up. They'll be standing up straight while they do it. So basically you can see this is the setup that we go through. It's about 7:30 in the morning here, and here we are. So we'll be ready to serve by about 5:30 this afternoon.
Table, I said, you don't pull that door. He was getting ready to yank that door open.
Okay, here's the start of the production. They're chopping vegetables. They've already taken them down and washed them. Make sure we don't have any sand or anything left in them. And chopping up the bell peppers. And we've got all kinds of celery down here waiting to be chopped. And I think the liners for the cookers are down in the washing machine in the kitchen. And we'll be getting those and putting them in and getting the ground beef going here pretty quickly. But slow process, but it's all hand done and extremely good stuff.
Are you lying?
Okay, now we're getting a bigger crew back here, and they're going like crazy and chopping all this stuff. We've got starting to fill up here with the bell peppers, and then up the other end they got the celery being chopped, and got a full crew of choppers and cutters. And once they get all that done and we get the liners back from the kitchen where they're being washed, well, then we'll start loading the meat in and just keep loading everything. We try to get the meat browned before we add all the vegetables into it, but then it cooks the rest of the day, and that's how the chili cooking goes. And again, the recipes, you just take everything that we have here and divide it by the number of cookers, and that's what you put in each one. So it's a very simple recipe. Okay, now the scientific process on the recipe starts. They're starting to dip, adding onion into the hamburger, or into the ground beef that's already cooking. And so here's the first batch that gets started. Okay. Yep, gotta watch everybody. Here they go. We have 5 containers, and we're splitting everything up. And it's just a couple of cups into each one as they go, mix them. And then while that's going on, now they're starting to open cans, so we'll have the rest of the ingredients that are canned will be uncanned, and then they split that between the containers. And that takes care of how do we get this here job done. Jerry, one of our longtime cooks, and doing his part.
We don't use these.
Second round.
They're making a second round now. We take a cup or two, and then we go, and then they come around again to make sure they spread it evenly. What a grand plan. Okay, and now the hard part starts. We've got everything loaded for the chili. We're waiting on it to simmer. It's about 10:30 in the morning, and we got to hurry up and wait till late afternoon. We can't start anything on the oysters until Dakota finishes up their lunch stuff. As you can see, the ladies have gone into their supervisory mode. And yes, here they are. Yeah, some of them have been supervising longer than others. But anyway, here we go. And just time to take pictures. There's all the oysters waiting. It's 17 gallons of oysters, 15 gallons for the stew, and 2 gallons for raw oysters. So here we are, like I say, 10:30 in the morning.
And then it takes 20
and
minutes.
we've waited and waited now. It'll all be done later. Okay, so now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As you can see, the reception room here, galleries, whatever and whatever, are decorated, tables set, decorations up. We've got a couple of bars in place. Back here at the back, we've got the table nearest to me, which is nearest to the kitchen, is where the oyster stew goes. The far table is where the chili goes, and the table over against the far wall is where the chocolate for dessert goes. And coming back around, try not to move too fast. We'll get back around, we can see there's a bar down in that corner. And then as I back out, we'll get to my favorite table. This is the table where we serve the raw oysters from. And the oysters are back in the kitchen in the cooler, along with the sauce. The small table back against the wall will be where there's a coffee container and the cups are sitting there waiting. But the Pier Board of Realtors came in, brought in the decorations and put them up. And we've been kind of getting the table set, getting the napkins and the crackers and spoons and bowls. All of that stuff is put in place, and the spares are back here at the back. The Dakota put everybody's banners up on the wall, so we didn't have to do any of that. We just had to get them in early enough to let them hang them. But that pretty well takes care of the setup right now, and all the food's back in the kitchen or in our loading dock, continuing to simmer and get even better. Okay, here we are. We have our oyster table. Believe it or not, a young lady who likes oysters is helping to serve. And Sarge in his little shirt there, so we're good. Okay, you're videoed. And here's the crowd. You can see the same room as just a while ago, filling up very nicely. We've got people waiting to bus tables here in the front. You can see on across we have a lot of people over there, and here we have the oyster stew table and the servers and all that, and down there in the red shirt, Home Builder Association, they're serving the chili, and so looks like a pretty good crowd here tonight. We're kind of happy to see everybody. I think we have another success on our hands.